Welcome to the Own Your Best Life podcast. I'm May Empson, your host, leadership and mindset coach. Here we talk all things spiritual, mindset, business, leadership, and wellness for the modern woman who wants to align her life with purpose and inspiration. We'll cover career changes, stress management, meditation, energy, intuition, and more. Each episode holds spiritual and practical tools to help you live a life of your wildest dreams without getting burnt out along the way. Ready to live a life on your own terms? This is the Own Your Best Life podcast. Hi friends, welcome to episode number 3 of the Own Your Best Life podcast. If you're feeling like you're headed towards a mental breakdown, or you just keep getting sick and you're worried that means you're burning out, you're going to want to listen into today's episode. We're going to uncover and talk about what burnout really is, what burnout symptoms look like, and the steps that you can start to take to start the process of recovery. So burnout really is an insidious partner of success. And for high achievers, that means giving it your all, and that is just the norm. So the late nights, the really intense and focused attention, the adrenaline high, the crashes, and all of it that culminates in this peak moment when you have the exhilaration of turning in that final masterpiece, crossing the finish line, getting it done, winning, all of those things. Comes with an amazing high. And for most of my life, I gave everything my all. It was just the way I operated. I really don't know how to do anything at less than, 1,000%. And that was what I knew. And I was addicted to just leaving it all in the field. So in school, that was great. It led to high grades and test scores. But on the field, it also meant good things too. It meant the winning goal or securing the championship title and beating my previous times. When I was at work, it was killer presentations, it was passing difficult interviews, it was traveling even when I was sick to make important customer meetings, hitting impossible timelines, delivering more than was expected every single time, and pacifying unhappy customers. When you look at home, it could be everything from big parties, packed social agendas, moves from one city to another. And to support all of this fast-paced living and this lifestyle, I was doing all the things. I was meditating, I was exercising, and I was eating healthy. But I did begin to wonder about burnout when, despite all these practices, I started getting sick constantly. So I started asking myself, what was wrong with me? Why do I keep getting sick? And I began Googling, of course, and reading about burnout. But what I was reading was mostly about people that had these extreme scenarios that would end up in the hospital with panic attacks or exhaustion from extreme fatigue. And I knew I wasn't there yet. But I knew I was also out of balance, and I knew that I was heading downhill fast. And while I was aware enough to pull myself out of these extreme scenarios and pull myself back from those edges, I didn't see, and I also didn't want to accept that there was a pattern emerging over the course of my life. And this pattern was one of working in intense jobs where I would be in high-stress situations for prolonged periods of times, usually for more than 2 or 3 weeks, and then I would get sick. That was the pattern. Stress for a long time, getting sick. And I would also sacrifice sleep. I would sacrifice sleep in order to do the work, and then I would spend my days getting even more work done. So there were multiple times when in the span of 6 months, and I remember this very clearly, that I would have multiple bouts of sickness ranging from high fevers to UTIs to bronchitis. So again, multiple times in a short period of time. I was getting sick. Slowly, what I was actually witnessing was a difference between the natural peaks and valleys of any major project or endeavor and the consistent slow burn of burnout. So I went back and I reread a Psychology Today article that I had discovered in the midst of burnout, and these words hit home this time. The words were chronic stress. Somehow, I had missed this the first time I read the article, and it was probably because I was just too tired or sleep deprived to see the words clearly. I probably was in denial of the fact that I let myself head down this path once again. And while stress is a normal part of life, it just is. Chronic stress, where the stress endures for 2 or more weeks, can actually be the thing that is eroding your health and eroding your well-being. So how to know you're in burnout? How do you know that? What are the symptoms? So according to this same Psychology Today article, burnout is a state of chronic stress, and that can lead to 1, physical and emotional exhaustion. These include symptoms such as fatigue, insomnia, increased illness, which is why I kept getting sick, anxiety, depression, and anger. Right? So I was getting more impatient at home. My kids were noticing that I was tired. These are all symptoms especially when your external life and people outside of you start to notice some of these things that are going on. It's a mirror, and it's a way for you to recognize that you need some help or you actually have something going on with you. The second way to know you're in burnout is when you start to experience cynicism and detachment. So these symptoms look like a loss of enjoyment, pessimism, isolation, and detachment. You don't feel like excited about stuff anymore. You don't feel like doing things anymore. And the third one is feelings of ineffectiveness and lack of accomplishment. And those symptoms include feeling apathetic, feeling hopeless, having more increased irritability, and lack of productivity and poor performance. So you might be like, yes, that's all me, but at the same time, if you are like many high achievers, you're going to look at this and also say, that sounds so depressing. It's not me. And I know I did this the first time that I read this. I was like a lot of achievers, and I could rationalize pretty much anything. And all the work that I was doing, it meant something. I was impacting people's lives in different ways. I was delivering on what I promised to other people. I was showing up. I was excelling. And at the same time, there's this feeling of feeling ungrateful for wanting things to be better when you have it pretty good. So there's this duality that I see in a lot of clients where they're feeling a sense of ungratefulness if they try to improve their situation because they think that this is just how it's supposed to be. But I am here now to urge you to reconsider this. Reconsider rationalizing chronic stress. I'm not saying that all your problems are going to go away and you should expect a problem and stress-free life. No. And I'm not saying that stress is also not good for you. I do think it builds a lot of resilience and grit. But what I am saying is that chronic stress is different. Look long and hard at these really negative feelings that you have about work. Whether it's work in the office or work in your home life. And identify if those feelings that you're feeling, like you don't want to do things anymore, you're tired of it, you feel overwhelmed, identify if those feelings are a result of chronic, prolonged stress because you're dealing with something that's going on for a long period of time, more than 2 or 3 weeks, and it's consistent, and it's not the stress that can happen from a few extra hours, a lot of attention you have to put into something in the course of 1 or 2 or 3 days at a time. So look at that and notice the difference. So now, how do you actually address burnout? There is no immediate fix. There is no one magic pill that's going to undo all of this. But there are some steps to take to start your recovery process. The first one is to identify the why. Why are you in burnout? For example, is this due to overworking or workaholicism or achievement addiction? A real problem people have sometimes is perfectionism or codependency. The second step to take is to use tools for stress reduction. This includes things that may feel hard. And this is not easy for a lot of people. It might mean doing things that feel like you don't have and you can't find time for it. How am I supposed to meditate, exercise, eat healthy, get enough sleep when I am already burning the midnight oil? I don't have enough time. But I'm telling you that these are the things you need to do in order to get out of burnout. And so these are just some of the steps to start the process, and knowledge is the first thing. And the third is to address the root cause of burnout. This may mean doing something uncomfortable, like changing jobs, changing people around you. And it could involve asking for help via therapy or coaching to get you into a place where you are accountable to yourself to start living a different kind of life. And then fourth, create self-care practices. So do what works for you to relax on a daily basis. And you might find different ways, like maybe it's salt baths, maybe it's going for a run, maybe it's taking a long walk, maybe it's talking to someone, maybe it is massages, essential oils, aromatherapy, writing, listening to or singing music, dancing, whatever it takes. Find your path to care for yourself and reconnect with the side of you that has nothing at all to do with work. So I want you to know that at the end of all this, there is hope. Even if it's taken you a lifetime to get where you are, there's still hope. And if you're in burnout, you're going to have to practice and utilize all these self-care muscles daily to break free of the addictive patterns that got you here in the first place. You have to break free of the thinking and the habitual thinking and the habitual actions that you take on a daily basis that got you here. And there are many moments for myself throughout a day where I find myself wanting to give it my all. But through the practices I just talked about, I now pause before I act and I check in with myself and I ask, is this for my highest good? Is this going to help me live a sustainable life where I have all the things I want and more? Or is this going to be a short-term solution, make me feel really good? I might feel this high of delivering and getting something done, but I'm going to crash and burn in the process. Which one is this? And asking yourself that question will help you really differentiate between the action you want to take because it feels good right now or the action that you want to take because it's good for you. So I've decided to seek the help that I needed to recover from burnout. I made myself accountable to many different people along the way, whether it was doctors or coaches or my husband and even myself. And I have to consistently put my recovery from burnout before everything else. And while I'm still the same person that has a lot of energy and I'm passionate about lots of things and I'm interested in exploring and in doing and giving things my all, I now remember what my spiritual teacher said to me, Gabby Bernstein, which is anything you put before your recovery, you will lose. So think about that. And I want you to think about this too, that you are your most important work. And I'm asking you to explore the possibility that the work you do in the area of burnout recovery is going to transform your life way more than this one project and this all-nighter. And it takes courage to show up perfectly imperfect and say, I choose me. It takes courage to go into the unknown, do things in a different way than you've done them before, and see what happens. And it takes a lot of courage to admit that this behavior may be good sometimes, but is not good all the time. So I want you to have that distinction. I want you to really start to decide for yourself how you want your life to be. And if you right now are committed to a life of more time for you and more health, more sustainable practices, and maybe you see yourself having a family, maybe you already have a family, maybe you just want time to do other things, maybe you don't want to be crazy stressed all the time, then I implore you to really start digging deep into these practices of deciding on a moment-to-moment basis, on a day-to-day basis, whether or not the action that you are taking feels good to you right now or is for your highest good. All right. I love you, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much for joining us this week on Own Your Best Life. Make sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts so that you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, can you please rate and review on iTunes? I would so appreciate it. Share it with a friend, take a screenshot of it, and tag @MayEmson. This helps continue to get the word out. For more show notes and resources, check out www.mayemson.com. It'll have all the links to everything you heard here today. Thanks so much for listening. It's time to own your best life.